Well, well, well. Congratulations are in order. You've made it to part 2 of the mechanical arm series. You should have had plenty of time to percolate over some decisions for part 1, because that was about 3 months ago, so good for me, nice and punctual. This isn't really a modeling tutorial and it takes time to do, so real fast, if you need to, pause the video and model what you want on the inside of your arm. So I'll describe what I think is important, but really this is completely up to you. Have some fun with it, and kind of think about how mechanical arms would work if they existed. For example, a couple of my tips would be to have some sort of ball joint or a joint of some sort for your elbow. Ball joints just seem to make the most sense for me, but that's just me. And then I have like what's in here is like kind of spring looking thing. My vision was like a bike shock resistant or shock absorber, and I was thinking that would just help like be a fake muscle for this arm. And then I've just put in some wires. Model whatever you want, guys. This is just what I did, and honestly the modeling took me like, I don't know, 15 minutes for all this stuff. So have some fun with it, and then we'll get started with actually connecting it to the character. Okay guys, so you should have your things modeled. Now let's connect them to the character. So I already did the arm, as you can see, but luckily for you guys, we have to do the exact same process for the hand here. Pretty much everything is the exact same except smaller. So I'm going to shrink down these same objects so I'm not doing double the work. And I'm just going to slap them in the hand here. First off, I think we're going to add the ball joint, because I think that's the easiest, and you kind of need to see where the actual bending occurs for your character. For instance, for the arm, I did do the ball joint first, and just kind of a tip that I recommend is going into pose mode for your character, and you should have your character all cut up from part 1. And now we're going to bend that limb, and we're just going to kind of try and align where it looks like that elbow would be. So I'm going to grab the ball, and I'm going to go back in Object, grab the ball, and I'm going to need to make the ball smaller too, because that's a big ball. And let's make it smaller, kind of see where it should go for our connection. That looks pretty good, I think. To attach your object, select your object and then select your rig while holding Shift. Then right click, go to Parent, and then we're going to select Armature Deform. Okay, now by itself this doesn't quite do it. It's not actually connected quite yet. So now we need to add some weights to this object. Don't be too freaked out, not a big deal. We are going to just transfer some weights to this from our character. So your character should be rigged as mentioned in part 1. So then select your object while holding Shift after you select your character. Then we're going to go to weight paint up here in the upper left, weights, transfer weights, and then instead of source layer select or selection is active layer, we're going to do it by name. And you'll see our little guy just jumped up here. If it jumps, don't freak out too much yet. Okay, then we're going to go back to object mode. And let's just see how this ball follows our character. I'm going to try and put it kind of back in the spot I wanted first. Somewhere around there. And let's see. So it's off. You guys can see. So we got to find what's making it go off. And this is the point when it's most off, so I'm just going to mess with this, it looks like, first. And you can see the weights are affecting it and kind of pulling it funny. So let's go through. I'm going to click on our object. I'm going to go back into weight paint mode. And this is just finding what we transferred over that's messing with our object. One thing I think is probably messing with it, for instance, is our... So I'm working on the left arm, so I'm looking for a left arm thing. So there's the left hand, left arm. So it makes sense to me that it would have some forearm, but it shouldn't really have left arm in my opinion. So I'm going to minus this weight And so I'm in weight paint, subtract, and I have it set to 100 just because we're going to take all that away. And that got it really close to where it's supposed to be already. So let's see if there's really anything else we should mess with. I am going to go to Object, and I'm just going to have it do the animation. So it looks like down here it's still off, but it's at least roughly in the right spot. So you know what, guys, we might be able to do. Oh yeah, so now that we minus that weight paint, it seems like it's in just the position it's supposed to be, and it won't move. So I'm going to put it back right here, and my guess is throughout the animation it's not really going to get messed up. But we'll see. Let's see how it goes. Boom. Okay. And as you guys can see, that is pretty much in the spot that we want it to be. And so now we have the joint, the ball joint for the hand. And it was just that easy. See, weight painting's not scary. For whoever thinks it's scary, it's not that big of a deal. And we got it all taken care of. Now we're going to rinse and repeat that process for these other limbs. But like I said, you kind of want to see where... Let's also make sure we even got that joint in the right spot. So I'm going to move it down. And that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good. So one thing that I'm going to show you guys that I'm not a huge fan of is you can see my armature deforming. Like this arm is deforming according to how I bend. And I don't like that. I don't think that's going to look very realistic for a mechanical arm. So we are going to do just very minor weight painting. I'm going to go back to Object, then select that forearm. Then I'm going to go to weight paint, and let's find what is affecting that. So literally in weight paint mode, just kind of click on stuff. And blue, just for those who don't really understand weight paint that much, blue basically just means it's not going to try and move with that object. So that means we subtracted the weights, and it's not going to try and move with whatever vertex group that might be. So... there we go, left forearm. So to me, it looks like it might have to do with the left forearm, left arm, hand. I think that's our issue right there. So all we're going to do is begin subtract, and we're going to minus the hand because we don't want it to move with the hand. That wouldn't make sense. It's metal. And let's see, do we have any like random thumbs or anything? The thumb is affecting it slightly. And... guys, my bet is that we got it. So I'm going to head back to object mode, and let's just, I'm going to go back to pose mode, silly goose, and then I'm going to grab it, and I'm going to twist it, and you can see we no longer have that armature deformation in that forearm. Now it's acting more like metal, which metal does not move. So we got it. It doesn't bend or anything. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now we just got the ball in there, and that looks pretty good. Okay, guys. So this next part is a little trickier than the ball, but that's okay. So I'm grabbing this object that is kind of meant to hold the ball joint, just so it makes sense with the character. So I shrunk the ball. My guess is I'm going to shrink this. And you see how I chose to do the ball joint for this character is I did two, you can do these however you want, by the way, but I did kind of this cross pattern. So it's one is holding one side and the other's holding the other side. So I'm just going to rinse and repeat down here. And let's scale this. And it's possible I'm going to have to scale the ball even like smaller, but we'll see. I just want to make sure I can fit some good mechanical looking stuff here. And I actually don't know why I'm lining this up, because once I transfer the weights, it is going to get hecka jacked up. So roughly have it in the spot that you want. Then same thing, grab your object, select your rig, right click, go to parent, armature deform, and now select your character, select your object while holding shift, go to weight paint, and we are going to transfer those weight paints. And now it might have had a little click movement there. So now I'm going to go back to object. I'm going to mess with my object, try and get it where I want it now. Okay. I'm fairly happy with that. Now my guess is we're going to have the same issue, and I feel like I should just automatically check, but maybe we won't. So let's see. Oh yeah, it's way over there. This is a position where it's really off, so we can use this to our advantage. Let's select our object and go back to weights. And let's go through the vertex groups. My guess is it's the exact same vertex group. So I'm just going to go to that left arm. And yes, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense why that's painted. So I'm going to get rid of all of that. And just really load our object up. And where'd he go though? He's gone. There he is. Okay, so he's a little off. But that's probably because... we just have to move them. Is my guess. Because I didn't get rid of that in the first place. So maybe we'll check that for the next object. So you kind of learn what to look for. And yeah, it gives you a good idea of what might be an issue for the next object. So now I bet if we move it, we already have that ball joint in position. And so let's see. You see this? I'm a little worried that that is going to collide strangely with our character. Oh yeah. So what we're going to do, because you're going to want to check your whole character. First off, I'm going to move this just a bit this way and see if that fixes that overlap. I think it did. Okay. So now we're going to just do another weight paint fix. So I've got this collision happening, and you might have to do this. It's kind of tedious with your character, but in the end, it's going to make everything look way cooler. So I have this collision. That doesn't look very cool, and you might end up doing a close-up on your hand of your dope thing you did. So let's go back to weight paint, and let's see what could be our issue. I'm just going to go over the left. Oh, I saw a little left forearm right there. So I'm going to see if we subtract that. Oh, yeah. And you see that? Oh, no. We don't want to subtract that. Okay, let's see what it could be. So one thing you could try doing as well is I've got the left hand here. This is the left hand. So instead of subtracting, perhaps if I just add, and I'm not going to do much. I don't want to ruin this thing. So I'm going to add a smidge into there. And let's see. To me, it's kind of janky looking on the inside, but it looks like that more or less fixed our issue that we were having as well. And that looks like it's more just in the center of the left hand. And let's see the whole animation. Yeah, so that guy's moving around a lot in there. However, he's not exiting. It doesn't look like to me at any point. And I have kind of a lot of motion going on here, so I'm guessing that we're going to be safe. So this that I'm seeing right here, this is just the nature of the beast. Because if I move or weight paint this object, I just happen to move the hand in a way that mechanical arms probably can't actually move. Because they have limitations. So... and rather than trying to fix, like if you bend your object too much and there's overlap, rather than trying to fix that, maybe just accept it and try not to move your object in that way. Or maybe it won't be a big deal because, for instance, in my case, that little guy's pretty hidden. Like, you're not going to see that from hardly any angle. However, if that does bother you, I would just watch for it and try not to have overlap. Because if we weight paint that part more, we're just going to mess up our whole object. Okay. So, literally, guys, next what we're going to do, and sorry, this is probably going to be a slightly longer tutorial, unfortunately, because this is pretty complicated stuff. I also do want to say, guys, if you feel comfortable at this point, you can just leave. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Because I'm just going to be doing the exact same process for all these parts. So it's not going to be any different. But if you want to stay and just like get more comfortable with weight paints, that's totally fine too. I'm not even a weight paint pro, but I feel like I know enough that I can get what I want. So I've got this object. Literally, guys, I am just going to Shift-D, duplicate that sucker, and then I'm going to rotate it, Z-axis, 90, sorry, whoopsie, rotate it, Z-axis 180, and then I am going to take them back this way, and that's going to look pretty close to correct. And now I'm going to RX, I believe, 90. And now we have a ball joint. And it's pretty easy to set up. You see that? And it's possible it'll just work with your rig. My guess is not. I think you're going to have to mess with it. So let's see what happens. So that part looks good. That looks, I think, okay. And as long as, I would guess, as long as you mess with all your weight paints for one animation, you're going to have everything fine for all animations. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, and you guys can still see like the mechanism and the ball joint. And yeah, we're starting to kind of get shape for our mechanical arm here. I'm fairly happy with how it's turning out. Okay, so now, let's add this guy. So this, I'm not gonna screw with you guys. At least for the way I did it, it's kind of a pain but to have it look good. But even if it doesn't look that great, I'm not gonna worry too much because no one's gonna see it that close. This is mostly so it's to fill the void and let you see there is something. So I am gonna real quick, because I shortened it for some reason, I don't remember why. So I'm gonna just lengthen this face because I'm worried if it's too short, we're gonna have issues. Okay, I'm gonna go like that. I'm gonna add some edge loops because that'll help with the weight painting. For those of you who don't know much about weight painting, the less faces, the more kind of janky it's gonna end up being. It's like if you have a bunch of weights telling a limb to follow like the hand or something, and there's not that many like edge loops or faces, it's just gonna look really weird. It's like trying to turn a box in real life into a circle. If you give it more faces, you're gonna have less jank. Okay, so I'm not actually gonna stress too much. I've been wasting my time, I feel like, by trying to put that in the right spot. So I am just going to parent, armature deform, and then grab my character, select my object, weight paint, weights, transfer weights, and go back to object. Now let's try and just get that little guy back. Let's try and get him. Let's try and get him where we kind of want him. And we already know, I don't know why I got out of it, weight paint, we already know the left forearm seems to be, or the left arm as a whole seems to be an issue. So there he is. There's that devilish left arm. Let's see, can we just minus it? I just minused it. Let's see if that is okay for us. Okay, let me go back to object. And I think I'm gonna have to make this quite a bit smaller. So good thing we got it a little bigger there. Get it where you want it. I am having some collision. I'm wondering maybe if I just go into this socket, that would look kind of okay, and maybe you won't be able to tell, but we'll see. Here's hoping. Then I'm going to move it back. So that's kind of more centerfold. However, okay, actually, I'm just kidding. I'm going to move it forward again. Because I'm just thinking realistically, where we're going to have a bend is around this ball joint. And I made it so this doesn't move. So all the bending is going to occur right here. So let's just kind of see how that animates. Already, it looks kind of okay, but I did see at least one clip. You guys see that clip? So, right, let's go to where it's worse. That's pretty bad. Okay, I think right here is like part of the worst one. So, ideally, I'd like this to move a little bit on the middle because I want it to look like it's like flexing. But if I can't achieve that, as long as this is in there, I'll be happy. So let's grab this. And I think, what was messing with our other one? Let's go to our weight paints. And just check out our left hand. So let's go to left hand and let's actually add some weight because that helped our other spot. So maybe it'll help this guy. I think I'm adding too much weight. Let's down our strength there to hardly any. Oh, okay, that made it way worse. Why? It's like more powerful. That's weird. Okay. Oh, that's because it's left shoulder. It messed me up. Okay, left hand. We're looking for the left hand. Okay. I've got hardly any. And I'm just going to dab this guy. X-ray. I just want to kind of dab this guy. Get him roughly. Oh, yeah. You see that bending that's kind of happening there? I think that looks pretty good. Kind of looks gaskety. And I'm going to see if I can go more up. But that might have been that I was already as good as it's going to get. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that, guys. Like, I know it looks kind of janky right there, but it's a gasket, first off. And hopefully, I'm going to do some tests, but I think it's going to look pretty good. Okay, so, oh, what's this? Oh, didn't see this part, so let's fix this. I'm just going to go on the weights. It looks like I just need a minus from this sucker to me. Let's just subtract and see what that does. Because that has connections to left hand. Okay, there we go. I bet we'll be good. I am going to watch that a little closer now, though. Because, yeah, you might even have to do double takes. It's hard to see all the clipping issues because, like, I wasn't expecting that. But it makes sense because I just stole that object. I'm actually shocked it works as good as it does. Okay, I think we've got a pretty nice little animation going on. Let's see if there's any cute little bend. See, there's just a little bend on that gasket, and I think that's kind of nice looking. My bet is that we can take that gasket, duplicate it, and take it over here, and have it look pretty good too. So let's see. I'm going to take it, do Shift D to duplicate, and I'm just going to take it over here. This side, I am, however, definitely going to take it in a bit because it's just at a different part of the arm. So let's rotate it, and whew, we might not even have enough fit for 2 of these, but let's see. I will say fitting your mechanical stuff is like one of the biggest, hardest things you can do. But once you can figure it out, it looks pretty dope. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, that looks janky, but that's okay. I can probably fix it if I really care. The main thing I'm looking for right now is major clipping. And I don't see any. Okay, guys, I think we're home free as far as clipping goes. And as you can see, it looks pretty normal here. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys whether you want to fix stuff. Because, for instance, no one is ever going to see the speed at which this jank is going to happen. And it's not even that bad, honestly. I'm going to fix it. Curse you guys. You convinced me. Okay. But I'm just saying you usually don't have to. That's all. Let's add weight just a bit. Not to that. I bet if we add weight to a different part, maybe the forearm, that looks a little bit better. Okay, And there you go. That was, you know, I did fix it, but sometimes it's not going to be so easy. And let's see if it's still even, maybe I messed it up for other animation parts. Ah, no, it just looks nice. But I got lucky, kind of. And you see I'm having a little clipping, but I do not care about that for sure. Okay, I think this is really giving you guys the idea of how to work this. So I hope this has helped. I mean, I've gotten my wire here, and I was going to do a couple wires. I'll add one more wire, just for you guys. I just hate this being so long, because I'm like, I doubt 90% of you are even going to be here at this point. I'm just talking to myself. I could probably listen to music and not get sued. Am I going to do this? No. But I could. For my own benefit. For feel like I can just screw around a little bit more because I know no one's made it. Okay. Well, I'll just try and still explain stuff. I don't care too much about this wire. I just don't. If I have like a little contact in certain areas, I'm just like, whatever. But that looks pretty good. But I do see it's clipping in that. Let's get rid of that, actually. Let's just take it back this way, and hopefully we don't have any clipping. There we go. Now we don't have any clipping in anything. Wires, and you'll see, let me go back. You see I've got a bunch of faces on the wire. That is because faces kind of matter for weight paint, so keep that in mind. Oh, yet again, I did it for no reason. Okay, so I'm going to parent, armor to deform, grab my character. I don't want to grab these objects because I've messed with the weight paints. My character has all the original weight paints on her still, so I'd rather just use those. But you technically could transfer the weights of any of these objects to get all the weight paints of the character. But it would have our altered weight paints as well. Okay, then let's go to weight paint, weights, transfer. It messed it up, so we're just gonna have to move it anyway. Gosh dang it. Head over to object, move it. Uh-oh, I got my character selected, so just move your object. I don't know, guys. How about right there? What do you think? That looks all right. And we already know, of a weight paint that's gonna mess with it. And it seemed to just do the trick by minusing it. So we are just gonna go to left arm and minus. And curses. Why do I keep aligning it? I know all these little things that I need to mess with. I'm screwing myself over, but no one's here to witness, so it doesn't really matter. I can just do whatever I want, suckers. Okay, we did it. That looks okay. I am actually kind of wondering if we transferred. Well, it's kind of in the right position. It's not. I don't see any clipping. It's close, but it's not occurring, I don't believe. Okay. Guys, are we gonna have to mess with that at all? It seems like we should, but I don't see it. Okay, that's crazy to me. Aha, I knew it. Okay, there it is. Okay, let's fix this. I'm gonna go back to weight paint. And I'm just going to add it into the hand like I did this other stuff. So left hand, add, just a fraction of a fraction there. And I don't want to look super janky, so I guess I'll just fix it a little bit. Even though it's the inside. Uh-oh. And I don't want to go in too high either, because I'm like, that already looks kind of okay. Let's just minus it a ton and hit that whole thing, maybe. I don't know. I'm worried I'm just messing up. I probably shouldn't have hit the whole thing. And then down here, a little extra. Okay, that looks pretty good. Some overlap is occurring right there, but I don't think it matters that much. From most angles, you won't even be able to tell. So let's see how this does. I don't know about you guys, but I think that looks smoking. I've done it yet again. Oh gosh. Okay, you know what? I kept saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Look, I'm gonna go back to object. Let's see if you can really even see that from most angles. I don't think you can. It's like super teeny. Look at that. So, I wouldn't stress too much about it, guys. Okay. We did it. We did it. I'm ending the video. If you made it this far, I deserve your subscription. You subscribe right now. Okay? Okay. Long video. Bye. Ugh. Fake out. I also think I just should mention, guys, if you somehow made it this far, just rinse and repeat this process for everything. So everything I've done on this whole character is just slight weight paint. I just click on the weights. I see what might be messing it up. And then I just dab it. And honestly, it's just experimenting. Like this gasket sucks at certain parts of the animation. Let's see. I'll show you. I'll prove it. I think it's like right when I've got this a major arm bend up here. Oh yeah, look at that guy fall apart. Actually, you know what? I did a pretty darn good job. So, but you see, it's kind of getting janked up. Yeah, but I just did it for everything, guys, and I think it looks pretty killer. So just so you guys know, you can do that for all the limbs. Do it for the joints of the fingers over here. Do it for this. Do it for your hand. Do it for the inside of your character stuff. Like I've got this other piece of metal just kind of inside my character. And the next part 3 will be about my textures I like to do for metals / to make it look bumpy without actually adding geometry. If you know how to do that, don't even bother clicking on it. But I think that I got some cool tips and tricks in there, so maybe check it out. Okay, that's it. That was a fake out earlier. This is a real one. I'm gonna let you guys go. This is like a super long video already. Peace.